All right, very excited to bring our next performer to the stage. We have become dear friends when we took a stand-up class together, Lace Larrabee's class, Laugh Lab. Actually, Kathy, her, and I got to take it together in the fall of 2022, and we've become pals. She is an actress. She is local. She just produced, starred in, wrote, did all the things for her first short film, Sweet Body, which is currently on the film festival circuit. Yeah, give it up for that. All right. She is not sorry about her success. Excited to share her story with you all tonight. Please welcome Niki Sterner.
Hello. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay, great. I so wanted to be an actress ever since I saw Julia Roberts in 6th grade in Pretty Woman. I really took that role to heart. I wanted to be her, so I began to play pretend, but in real life. I told my boyfriend, I don't kiss on the mouth anymore. My older sister, Kelly, worked at a fancy clothing store, and she gave me deep discounts on all my favorite clothes, which was super cool. I'd take my bags out and walk like I was leaving. Thanks, Kel. And then once outside, I'd pause, give it a beat, and then walk right back in and up to her as she was settling in to read her book. And I'd say, hi, do you remember me? And she'd say, yes, Niki. And I'd say, I was in here yesterday and you wouldn't wait on me? And she'd say, that's not true. And I'd say, you work on commission, right? And she'd say, no, I don't. And I'd finish with, big mistake. Big, huge. And I'd walk out with a giant smile on my face, knowing I nailed that performance. But my favorite scene was the one that I watched like this. The piano scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mainly because, not to brag, but I was a talented piano player in 2nd and 3rd grade. Yeah. And I thought Julia was just very creative in how she played the piano with her cheeks. And I had never worn an outfit like that when I performed at recitals. I bet that black teddy scored well with the judges. I mean, Julia and I had so much in common with the piano, the shopping, and the boyfriends. We were both actresses, soaking up all the attention, feeling loved, people clapping for us, admiring us. But she was in Hollywood, and I was in a small town in Montana. And the biggest stage in town was the basketball court. Okay? So obviously it made sense that I chose that one. We went to state my junior and senior year. We had a really good team. Hindsight is 2020 though, and I probably should have taken drama in high school, but being on the speech and debate team just wasn't on my radar. It wasn't that cool. Although I did have the most hilarious and kind of dorky English teacher who was one of the leaders of the drama club. Yeah, he was wildly entertaining and kept us awake with his jokes during the most boring English snooze fests. He invited us to come and watch their speech and debate meet one weekend, and I remember seeing one of my classmates who was very quiet as she transformed into someone I didn't recognize. She performed this monologue called The 3 Faces of Eve about a woman who has multiple personality disorder, and I was like, whoa, what just happened? Who was that? She was so freaking good. It blew me away. And then I was like intimidated, like, how'd she do that? And then I was curious, like, how can I do that? But between dance and basketball and volleyball and track, I didn't have time to do drama. And I didn't dare switch or leave my team because I had all my best friends on it. But before that, back in 6th grade, I was introduced to dance. My instructor was incredible. She was tall, beautiful, long legs, and so cool and stylish. Her name was Jean, and she was from the next town over. I wanted to be like Jean. I remember practicing every night for at least an hour, because when it got dark outside, my reflection would show up like magic on the sliding glass door. And during the day, I'd dance in front of any mirror I could find, rehearsing until it was perfect. And at the end of our final dance recital, Jean announced the winner of the most coveted award, the most improved dancer, which I didn't even know was a thing. But it included a scholarship for a full year of dance class with her the next year. So when she said, and the winner is Niki Peterson, everyone turned and congratulated me, and I was so happy because it meant I had another year with Jean, the dancing queen, the beauty machine. And as I hugged her and her growing baby belly because she was preggers, I was so happy. You can imagine how disappointed I was to learn that Jean couldn't teach in our town the next year because of the new baby. So we said goodbye to the scholarship, and I took dance class locally with Eileen in 7th and 8th grade. Now, in 7th grade, I auditioned for the Missoula Children's Theater that came through once a year. It was a big deal. Theater with real actors. We would audition, get our parts, rehearse for a full week, and then perform on the weekend. It was all new to me. So when I saw Cassie perform the lead role of Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, I knew that was what I wanted to do. I could feel it in my bones. So in 8th grade, when they came through again, I sang louder and danced bigger and got noticed. I won the lead role of Alice in Alice in Wonderland. Thank you, my biggest role to date. Because when high school rolled around, I had to choose between sports and acting, and I always chose sports because it was cool. And I'm super competitive, and I like being active. But you better believe that we always made time for the halftime performances at the basketball tournaments with the double-decker crowds. I mean, come on. We had the coolest halftime routines with amazing costumes that my mom made from scratch. Yeah, I mean, one of the halftime shows, we rode in on mini bicycles, pretending they were motorcycles, if you can imagine that, with leather jackets that we tossed off after we revved our bikes. It was wild, and the crowd loved it. They loved me. I think that's why I tried out for dance team in college. I loved the attention. In college, my time was split between dance team and pre-med. And at the end of my first semester, I was one of 3 students in my freshman chemistry class of 300 that got a 100% on my final exam. I was so proud when my instructor at the front of the class, on stage, called my name. I rushed forward like I was accepting an Academy Award, waving at all my fellow future doctors. That rush of, I just won, big time. And I still have that exam on my wall. In a frame. But when I started the second semester, I knew I didn't have time to be good at both, dance team and pre-med. It just wasn't possible, right? So I had to make a choice, and I had to choose the bigger stage. And dance team won with the football and basketball crowds. So I said goodbye to my chem class and withdrew and said goodbye to pre-med life and hello to pre-physical therapy life, which also took too much time. So I pivoted again to business and accounting, which my mom chose for me in my time of crisis because I could care less about these stupid classes. All I wanted to do was perform. And the instructors were stealing all the stage time in class. What a waste. God. But luckily, during my final semester of college, I was walking in a parade as a Budweiser girl, of course, when a pageant director approached me and asked if I had thought about doing pageants. I was so flattered that she asked me and noticed me in my Bud Girl outfit. And I had won the Toole County Junior Miss title my senior year in high school, so it wouldn't be my first pageant. But this would be a bigger stage. The Miss USA Montana State Pageant. Yeah. Winner would go on to the Miss USA pageant on television. But not only that, the director told me that an LA talent scout was coming to Montana to be a judge. Say what? I'm gonna get discovered? Yes, how do I sign up? I was so excited I nearly peed my pants. I asked her, when's the pageant? And when she told me the dates, my dreams were shattered. The pageant was on the same weekend as my oldest brother's wedding. Now, to be fair, it was his second wedding. So, after a little thought, I happily agreed to do the pageant. Goodbye, brother. And because I'm competitive, I trained for this pageant, okay? I bought the book on how to win the Miss USA pageant. Yeah, I rode the bicycle every day an hour to get my legs in tip-top shape for the swimsuit competition, which I did not win. I whitened my teeth with bleaching trays so that my smile was the first thing people would notice. And it won me the most photogenic award at the pageant. I rehearsed my answers to the common pageant questions and kept up with the news for the first time ever. And when I sat down to the round robin of interviews, what do you know? Mr. Talent Scout, the king of LA, was my first interviewer. And as I answered his questions, my eyes looking up and down and all around, he stopped me mid-sentence and said, "I'm up here. So if you want to win this thing, you need to look me in the eyes. You need to look all these judges in the eyes. You need to talk to us." Oh, yeah. And so from that point on, I applied his direction, and I won Best in Interview. Booyah! Quick learner, I'm directable. Yeah. I was having so much fun at this pageant, though, meeting all these wonderful girls that I ended up winning Miss Congeniality too. I don't know how. I've never won a popularity contest, was never prom or homecoming queen, so that was a shocker. And although I came home with second runner-up, I felt like I was the big winner because I had been discovered. Mr. LA contacted me afterward and asked if I would like to work with him on acting after graduating from college. Yes. Julia Roberts in the making? So after I graduated from college with a business and accounting degree, because I was good with numbers, off I went. I graduated from college in December, drove out to California to meet my sister Kelly and have Christmas with her and her boyfriend in Sacramento. Then I drove straight to Mr. Talent Manager's home outside of LA. I moved into his home, which had a separate wing where I stayed. It was lovely and not weird, like you might think based on everything that has come out with the Me Too movement. Nope, just a nice 50, maybe 60-year-old man willing to help with no strings attached. Evidently not that common in LA. And one of the first things we discussed was changing my name because it was right when the Scott Peterson trial was going on, and my last name was Peterson, so that had a bad rap. So we talked about shortening it to Peters, and maybe going with Marilyn Peters, because who doesn't love Marilyn Monroe, and who wouldn't love Marilyn Peters? Which was at the top of my very first acting resume. Yeah, it was. We did all sorts of acting training. He taught me where to look for acting jobs in the trades. He was a photographer and took my very first headshots out on the rocky beaches. He had a giant video camera, which he used at the Rose Parade. I spoke into a microphone, kind of like this, like a news anchor informing the viewers about the parade as he got footage. We went to the Children's Hospital, and I interviewed some of the hot Rose Bowl football players. We went to an M&M event, and he recorded me dancing out on the field so we would have material to use for commercials. We went to a movie promo event at Macy's for Mona Lisa's Smile, which had Julia Roberts in it. He was training me to be out and promoting myself, which was cool. And as my 30 days drew to a close, Mr. LA was very helpful. He said, "What can you do to work during the day and take classes at night? Maybe nanny?" But I felt overwhelmed from the 30 days of on. We'd wake up and he'd show me commercials and I'd perform and look for jobs, but I had this deep, dark doubt within me that I couldn't shake. I began to put on weight. I did not feel like a cute LA girl. I was scared because I hadn't taken classes yet. I felt unprepared. I was here doing it, but I didn't believe in myself. And all of a sudden, I felt like a total imposter. I hadn't earned the right to be out here in LA. I should leave. Like now. Like right now. And so I fled on day 29. I never got any of the footage from our 28 days of working together. I blamed it on missing my boyfriend back home, but I didn't run home to him. Instead, I moved to Minneapolis to be with my best friend and hide from the people I told I was going to be an actress because I was so darn embarrassed. I needed to hibernate in the cold winter weather of Minneapolis. My time there was short and not sweet. 6 months of colder than Montana weather and way more mosquitoes than I could have ever imagined in the land of 1,000 lakes. When we would go for walks, my arms would get tired from swatting the mosquitoes the whole time. Minneapolis did not agree with me. So I moved to Las Vegas to live with my brother and his girlfriend. It wasn't LA, but it was close. I got a job as a bevertainer at the Rio Hotel and Casino, dancing on 10 different stages throughout the casino and serving beverages to the customers. Sure, it was smoky and my eyes were bloodshot every day, all day. But Visine was my best friend, okay? And I was performing again. I was picked for the job. We wore beautiful costumes. It was a step in the right direction. Then I noticed that some of the girls were making really big tips, and they had fake boobs. So I got some. And then I got placed in the high roller rooms with $100 tips. I got asked to go on trips with men. I loved the attention. I reached back out to Mr. Talent Manager. We met for lunch, and he was shocked to see my new triple Ds. He thought the industry would take well to it, though, with Pamela Anderson and the Baywatch craze. But when Mr. Manager reached out and said he found me a promotional job in San Diego and could I be there in 2 days, I froze. Felt like I was being rushed into something I wasn't ready for. I wanted it, but part of me said no. Why does this keep happening to me? I didn't know then, but I realized years later why I was running from the spotlight. So when I was 8, I had this next door neighbor named Jenny, who was she was quiet and sad, kind of like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I asked her, "Why are you so sad?" She said, "Jessica hit me again." Jessica is her older sister by a few years. There are no parents in the house, so Jessica's in charge of Jenny and her 2 younger siblings. "I can come over if you want." I hated going over there because it was such a mess of trash and dishes and toys all over the floor. And the smell, the smell. This was not like my house. So I went there, but I already felt uncomfortable. And when I got there, Jessica said, "You want to play house?" "Yeah, I want to play house." So we go up to the playroom, and Jessica gives everyone a role. You're going to fold clothes, you're going to do dishes, you're going to mow the lawn, and you lay down on the bed. Okay. So I did, and we begin playing. I'm sleeping, Jenny's folding clothes, and Jessica comes over and begins playing. Only I'm not sure what she's doing. That's not how I play house. What is she doing down there? Makes me feel uncomfortable. I try to say stop, but I have no voice. It's gone. I'm frozen. I'm scared. And I'm weirdly excited. We finish playing and I leave. Not sure what just happened, but I know I can't tell anyone. I feel so dumb. I'm so mad at myself. And I'm embarrassed. Why did I do that? But instead of asking my mom or dad what that was, I put on a smile so no one knows. And now I have a secret. My body is bad. So bad that I disconnect from it sometimes when I'm afraid like that. A year and a half ago, I performed stand-up comedy on stage at the Laugh Lab grad show. And during the show, I was so disconnected from my body that my husband, who's here tonight, and I talked to tonight, but my husband didn't recognize me. He tried to talk to me, and all I could do was smile and nod. I was frozen in fear again. Why does this keep happening. After all the years of acting classes and training, I have the skills to perform, so where is my confidence? I started to lose hope. What was the point of it all? The darkness of the mind can swallow you whole, make you feel like everyone would be better off without you here. I was losing the battle of the mind. If I couldn't do acting, why was I here? I wanted to die. But thank God I have a husband and 3 kids worth living for. And so, in January of 2023, I began to study the mind and train the mind, just like I had done with my body. Biceps and triceps exercises looked like guided meditations and positive affirmations. I was finally freeing myself from the negative thoughts and inner beliefs that I had deeply ingrained in myself, because the mind is everything. It can be a prison, keeping you small, or it can be limitless and give you the world, because of what you think, you become. They say secrets make you sick, and that was the case for me. My secret from when I was 8 had colored my life and kept me stuck in fear for years. It drained my confidence and kept me from pursuing the one thing I really loved, acting, because it meant I would be in the spotlight and my secret could come out. Slowly, over the past year and a half, with daily training, my beliefs began to shift. And since the start of 2024, I have been preparing to finally tell this story on stage, in the spotlight, because telling it is letting it go. So thank you, Kathy, and thank you all for listening. Good night.
I don't have anything light to say, and that's what I'm supposed to do right now, is say something light. But isn't tonight an amazing experience for all of us? Yes. Woo! All right. We have a